Hi everybody, Dan Illman here taking a look at race number 9 at Parx Racing on Pennsylvania Derby Saturday. The first leg of the 50-cent Philly Pick 5. It's the Grade 3 Turf Monster. $300,000 is the purse. Some nice turf sprinters going 5/8 of a mile. Let's take a look at this big and bulky field. The two horses on the far outside, the 14 Violent Turbulence, the 15 Vidal are entered main track only. The 13 West Fork isn't also eligible. There's a pretty good chance he's going to get into this race, however, because when I talked to trainer Jorge Duarte earlier this week, he mentioned that he's most likely going to start one of his two entrants, either the 12 Grooms All Bizness or the 4 Nothing Better. He says course condition will be the final determining factor as to which one of those two talented horses will run. Let's throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector. It's a turf sprint. It's a big field. There are some blazers in here. No surprise that it's a red bar situation indicating a fast pace, and I don't think there's any faster horse out of the gate in this race than the number 1. That's right, and that's right. Blossomed since being switched to the turf. He won his first 3 turf starts in gate-to-wire fashion where he simply showed the field his heels. It gave the connections confidence to throw him to the wolves, so to speak, in the Mahoney at Saratoga, where once again he showed big early speed, but perhaps the step up in class was too much for him. He was run down by Big Invasion, who's one of the better 3-year-old turf sprinters in the country. That's Right has a tendency not to change leads in the stretch, but he's very, very fast, and breaking from the inside post, he's likely going to be on ascend. The 2 is Surprise Boss, who finished just ahead of That's Right in the Mahoney when facing Big Invasion, who's 6 for 8 lifetime. Came out of that race to run a little bit of a disappointing 3rd in the Grade 2 Franklin Simpson at Kentucky Downs with an 82 buyer. Surprise Boss kind of got bounced around at the start of the Mahoney. He likes to be closer to the pace than where he was, and then he finished in a one-paced fashion. With a more alert break, we're going to see this horse closer to the pace. I don't think he is as fast as That's Right, however, but maybe Irad Ortiz will tuck Surprise Boss in behind That's Right and try and work out a pace-tracking, ground-saving pocket trip. The number 3 is Dr. Duke, and this horse is still eligible for his second-level New York bred condition. He ran in one of those races at Saratoga last time out, and I just couldn't find any excuse for him. The pace wasn't fast for that 5.5 furlong race. They went 45-2, and Dr. Duke was right up close to the pace. The 6th-place finisher of that race did come back to win, but it was on dirt, an allowance at Finger Lakes of all places, with a 75 buyer. Dr. Duke is a horse that occasionally pops a big number, but you have to go way back to find it. Dr. Duke, to me, a long shot and a deserving one in here. Maybe a pace collapse works to his advantage. The 4 is Nothing Better, one of the 2 Duarte-trained entrants, and this horse won the Rainbow Air Stakes sprinting 2 starts back. They tried to stretch him out to a mile in this race, the Red Bank, his most recent start, and all in all, the trip looked like it was going to work out. He saved ground behind the eventual gate-to-wire winner, but you see he gets in a little bit tight in the stretch, and he ends up running second. The buyer's speed figure from that race, 91, puts him in very good stead, right on top of the 92 here in sprinting on turf 2 starts back. Duarte told me that Nothing Better is the kind of horse that wants firm ground. There is some wet weather in the forecast on Thursday in the Parx in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia area. If the turf is firm, we expect Nothing Better to run in this race. He has tactical speed that can sit just off the pace and is in very good form. He's doubtlessly one of the ones. The 5 is Uncle Ernie, and he's going to be trying his turf debut for trainer John Service while returning off a March layoff. Service is very high on this horse. I talked to him early this week. He thinks he's very, very good. He's not too concerned about switching to turf. I believe he said, I think this horse can run on anything. Uncle Ernie is fast. He's going to be fresh off the layoff. He's likely going to be battling with That's Right in the early stages. While his sire Talent Search has done okay work with his turf horses, I just don't see enough turf on the bottom of this pedigree. If he is, however, to transfer his big buyer speed figures from dirt to the turf course, he becomes a player. 8-1 is a fair price on the morning line. you're getting Joel Rosario. The 6 is Extreme Force, and Extreme Force has only raced once previously on the turf. You have to go back to the summer of 2021. It was a 2-turn mile race, and it just didn't work out. He was stakes placed in an off-turf race 2 starts back, which shows that he is in good form on the dirt. He would benefit from a quick pace up front, but there are a lot of questions regarding his ability on the grass. The 7 is Boats A Rockin', and while Boats A Rockin' has won a couple of races sprinting on turf in the past, he's sort of made his name recently by utilizing his excellent early speed in middle distance races, as he did in this start at Penn National last time out, where he blasted out to the front and he went very, very fast, and he's going to get run down at the end and finish 3rd, beaten a half length in that 2nd level allowance. He's going to be taking a big step up into the stakes ranks here. He does like turf. He has won at Parx. He has won sprinting. To me, I think his speed just plays better at more longer distances than what we're going to see at Parx on Saturday. War Toxin is a likable horse that's picked up a lot of checks in his career. He just doesn't win very often, but occasionally you'll know him at a price. And he's a kind of horse that's been versatile. He's adaptable to any sort of pace scenario. If the pace is quick, he can come from off it. If the pace is slow, he can be up close. He's only started twice on turf in his career. You got to go all the way back to June of 2020 for his most recent turf start. I think he's better on the dirt, but I won't be surprised if he grabs a minor award at what should be a nice price. Consider the 9 Breezy Gust. Of all these horses that have mostly campaigned on dirt and are going to be trying turf and are still unexposed on the surface, Breezy Gust has been racing in very good form on dirt. He's going to get blinkers here for a trainer that's having a very nice Parx meeting, and his only start on turf came back in 2020 at Parx, and he was beaten less than a length in that turf sprint. I think he handles the surface. I like his tactical speed, and I don't mind his outside post position, where I think he can tuck in the second flight right off of the speeds and maybe come with a run getting the jump on the true closers in the stretch. Hero's Reward is the number 10. We're going to take a look at his most recent turf start. This is 4 races back. It's a $22,000 claiming event sprinting at Monmouth. He fell behind early. He saved ground. He's able to get up for 3rd. It was an okay performance, not one that makes me want to run to the windows and bet him in the Turf Monster, but off this race he won 2 in a row on the dirt. His most recent start, the Fabulous Strike, on the main track. He just didn't seem very comfortable racing down on the inside. Outside post here for Hero's Reward, but another horse that I believe is better on the dirt. Smooth B is a curious conundrum if there ever is one. He's 0 for 11 lifetime on turf, but I think he can step on the grass, as evidenced by this race 2 starts back at Saratoga, where he was entered for an $80,000 tag. He showed good speed to prompt the winner down towards the inside, altered course to the outside in the stretch, and was just no match for the 2 favorites. The winner of that race, Artemis City Limits, came back to run 2nd in a Grade 2 race at Kentucky Downs with a 100 Beyer speed figure. You could argue that Smooth B, the competition he faced that day, is very comparable to the competition he's going to face on Saturday. And Smooth B bounced out of that turf race with a huge victory over a wet dirt track in the off-turf Marshall Jenny for Pennsylvania breds, earning a 100 Beyer speed figure. I talked to Butch Reed. He feels that if the turf course is firm, Smooth B can be a big factor on the turf course on Saturday, and I tend to agree. The 12 is Grooms All Bizness, and I talked to Duarte earlier this week. He says he wants to run Grooms All Bizness if this course has a little bit of give on it. He is a very lightly raced 3-year-old. Let's watch his last start at Monmouth, going 5.5 furlongs. He had everything his own way in this race. The pace is not fast at all. They go a half in 45 and 4. You see Grooms All Bizness does not change leads in the stretch, and you have to question his competition. Of the 4 horses that have run since that race, none hit the board in their very next start with a best Beyer of 72. Grooms All Bizness, outside post. If the turf course is soft, you might want to move him up a bit. If there is a scratch, West Fork gets into the race. West Fork is a solid enough horse. He ran in the Turf Monster last year. He was a humongous price. Take that race with a grain of salt. I know the turf course was listed officially as good. It was bottomless, boggy, and soft, and a lot of horses didn't like it. Probably West Fork was one of them, but you look over his career, he hasn't won in a long time, and he might be a little bit class compromised. The 14 and 15 are entered main track only. I'm hoping for firm turf. I liked what I saw from Smooth B, 2 starts back at Saratoga. I certainly liked what I saw from him on dirt last time out, which makes me think that he's in very good form for this race, and he has enough tactical speed where he can get close to the pace as well without burning himself out. He'll be my top selection in the Turf Monster on a stakes-laden Saturday card at Parx on Pennsylvania Derby afternoon. Good luck.